Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DDT Podcast. It is episode 8, and I am your host. It's MadLutter53, and I am joined by a guest. I know I already have the graphic up for this 8th episode. So far, let me do a little bit of a backtrack before I can take a step forward. We have had a wide range of people from the creator wrestler community on WWE 2K, ranging from Austin Zero to Gex to Scott Cole as well, people I personally know, and then as well as somebody who wound up turning it into an indie wrestling career for themselves. But I am going to take a little bit of a step back and pivot slightly, because who I'm bringing on is a little bit different in the sense that he's not part of the creator wrestler community as much as he is still part of the creation of digital artwork and posters in wrestling, and I'm a huge fan of that. I have my own Instagram as well, just to plug myself, where I'm doing this sort of thing. But he's somebody that I've looked up to and has actually influenced me into wanting to do this for the past year plus. He's been doing this for years. He's followed by great wrestlers and performers such as Karrion Kross, as well as Shotzi, and a few others to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a wonderful welcome and a warm welcome to a phenomenal artist, in my opinion, of the digital community for wrestling, Glitch Artworkz. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow. I don't think I've ever had a better introduction in my life. Like, I don't think I've even had anything on my birthday or a Christmas or anything. That's fucking awesome.
And what's funny is I just, I had such a busy schedule. I don't rehearse these. I don't rehearse the intro.
Well, even if you did rehearse it, it is appreciated. I don't think anyone's ever spoke to me in that high esteem. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. And as I've told everyone, anything I say in the intro and during the podcast is 100% genuine. I do firmly believe that you are one of the best in the business. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has over 550 followers at this point and counting. He's blown up very recently with almost gaining, I think, 102 months. Is that correct?
No, I haven't got a clue. I'm just appreciative of what I got. If you hit the follow button, then thanks a lot. I don't keep a track of that. I love to see what it is. And I love that people like you tell me that I'm growing, because obviously it just means that I'm keeping things going and other people are noticing it, which is what's meant to happen, really.
I 100% agree in terms of just trying to make artwork that people enjoy and walk away with. But I want to take a backtrack, at least for you, in the sense that I want to take down a trip to memory lane for you. With my first question being, and this is what I start off with everyone, what do you recall is your first memory of pro wrestling?
Oh, my first ever memory of pro wrestling, Jesus Christ. It's got to be sitting at the front of the TV, literally just not really getting into anything, not really like anything really been, and all of a sudden I hear the Undertaker's gone and he's walking down the ramp, and I'm like, wow, what is this? Like, this is amazing. And then just basically from there, the Undertaker was the very first person that I saw, and I was just in such awe. Like, for the first time, like, I remember like people around me saying, like, you talk all the time. That's one time we know where you were speechless. And I don't even remember what age I was, but for them to turn around and say I was speechless was, and that doesn't happen very often. I do talk a lot. So it was the Undertaker, but I can't remember when.
Interesting. And it was just his entrance that you recall?
It was just everything. It was just that he walked down the ramp. And the crazy thing about it is I believe I watched it on the WWE Network a couple of months just before it finished. They had like an Undertaker thing on there with all of his like shows and stuff, and it was the exact entrance, and it was crazy, the goosebumps and everything, and it was it was an out of body experience. It was like I've seen this before, and then it just clicked. That was it. That was the time, and I was like, my partner at the time was basically like, "Are you all right? You okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm a bit spaced out. Like, I don't know really, Yeah, I needed some fresh air and a drink. It was an amazing experience, but it was crazy.
Well, coupled with that, you mentioned The Undertaker. Would you say that he's the one that you've idolized the most, or is this another wrestler over time that you've grown to be captivated by or drawn to? And with who you pick, why are you drawn to them so much?
Right. Well, see, this is the thing with me. I've always picked wrestlers that have left. My all-time favorite of all time is Shawn Michaels, the greatest wrestler ever, and still on Saturday night's main event, he still was as captivating, and all he was doing was kicking Kevin Owens in the face. That's it. But he was just so fucking good. How he got his leg up at that age, and yeah, it was just amazing. So Shawn Michaels was my first. Then obviously Shawn Michaels left, and Bret the Hitman Hart with the Hart Foundation. When he came in and he had Owen, Bulldog, and Brian Pillman, he was in his wheelchair. Some of the greatest TV ever. And generally, my dream match of all time will be Kurt Angle in his prime versus Bret Hart in his prime. And it would be an I Quit 60-minute match, and it'd be fucking awesome, but it's never going to happen. I've done a poster for it. And when I did it, I'm like, I'm going to redo that because I can do better than that. I don't know if you've seen that poster, the Kurt Angle Bret Hart poster.
No.
Yeah, I made it. It was like a WrestleMania thing, and yeah, it was like WrestleMania month. I'll repost it. I'll either send it to you or I'll repost it, either one. But yeah, no, it was probably Bret Hart, and then after that, obviously he retired. So I was like, well, who do I find for a while? And then it was The Rock. I idolised The Rock. I thought he was absolutely amazing. And then obviously The Rock left as well. So it's like whenever I pick someone, they leave. Then from The Rock, I believe it was Edge. And then after Edge, it was John Cena. And then when John Cena hit, it was just, that's my guy. The only person that's ever come closer to it is Bray Wyatt. I'm a massive Bray Wyatt fan. He was this generation's Undertaker. He was going to be the thing that people look forward to. It's like whenever there was a pay-per-view, I remember people like, oh, the Undertaker might come back. Everyone was like, oh, Bray Wyatt might come back. Oh, Bray Wyatt's going to AEW. No, he's not. He's staying here. And then Extreme Rules, I say this, even with the CM Punk returning, the greatest return ever was Bray Wyatt because no one knew it was happening. No one saw it coming. And it's crazy how much they put behind that. If you go back and watch the Extreme Rules things, they even set up that Karrion Kross was going to be a part of it in some way. Bray Wyatt is on a cross. He's the rabbit. And now in Lucha Underground, Karrion Kross was the White Rabbit. They set it up so perfectly. And Bray Wyatt passed away, and it was just, we never got what we should have got. And I think now that's why this whole Wyatt Karrion Kross thing, it's not really working that much because we all know if it's not the original, it's not going to work, unfortunately. So it's something unfortunate, but I've always been captivated by people that can be great on the microphone. That's always been a great thing for me. Someone that can tell a story, and I don't think there's been anyone better than Bray Wyatt. But there's another person that cuts an absolute amazing promo, and I don't know why he doesn't get enough time. If I was in charge of Raw or SmackDown, I'd make Karrion Kross my Intercontinental Champion by now. I just would. He's so good. And if he's given the ball, I describe him the same way as I describe Triple H. For years, he asked for the ball. No one gave it to him. He got punished when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall left. Right? He stayed. He ate that shit sandwich. Shawn Michaels left. Again, he got jobbed to people like Henry Godwin, for fuck's sake. That's the guy now that is running the company. Like, he paid his dues. And I just think, for someone like Karrion Kross, I think he's paid enough dues that he's deserved a fucking push. And I'm hoping that this Seth Rollins thing can go somewhere, or the Sami Zayn. What I'm hoping happens is Karrion Kross comes into the Royal Rumble and he eliminates Seth Rollins. And we're off to the races for WrestleMania. Because one of the best things about WrestleMania last year was Karrion Kross's reaction when he walked on that stage. Many people have been on that stage and not appreciated it. But when Karrion Kross was there, he sort of became a fan favourite because he wasn't being a character. He was just enjoying the moment as a kid, knowing that he's at WrestleMania. And it was just so fucking good to see. I just think that many people in the industry don't give him enough credit, and he's an absolute genius.
Well, with that long answer, not to knock you, because I think that it's so cool to see how it's changed over time. Just to talk about Karrion Kross for a minute, my own experience with him is that when he joined NXT, I know that COVID had just come through for us, but my opinion of him, because I didn't watch too much TNA, so I didn't have much an opinion on him. But when I saw the entrance, I immediately thought, this is a guy. To be fair, I'm a fan of Baron Corbin. I've been a fan of Baron Corbin since he debuted in NXT when I was watching. So for me, I know that I've at least never been like, the people I gravitate to aren't always the fan favorites, especially on the internet. And I love the almost gothic serial killer kind of vibe to him. And then wins the NXT title. I get that everyone says that he was destroyed by Adam Cole, but I disagree, because I feel like Adam Cole, like, his whole line, the whole hook in the promo was that if you want to find out what's special about me, you ring the freaking bell. You don't need all this stuff. My counter to that is, but you do need all the other stuff. That's part of it. If all you focus on is wrestling, you're not going to be the guy. And what was gravitating me, I know that Adam Cole eviscerated him in the promo, from what most people say. But when I looked at it, I thought, you're only reinforcing the point that Karrion Kross is the guy, because what you're highlighting is that he's got all this stuff put together. He doesn't need the flashy entrance on the main. He doesn't need to be flashy in the ring on the main roster. That's the difference. NXT, you do need the ring work. But the main roster, it's about the character. It's about the hook. It's why Bray Wyatt is so captivating. He might not be the most 5-star classic wrestler you've ever seen, but everything he does to bring you in and lure you in to his character and who he is the hook. And I was so mad when Vince did the whole gladiator.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my gosh, I was so sad for him. I was so devastated, because I'm like, how did we? I literally questioned everything. Like, how do we fumble another person? And then he got released. They did the whole EC3 Braun Strowman underground thing, and I kept thinking to myself, he should be back in the company. This was a misfire by this company. Their writing crew, whoever was in charge of it, botched it. But I'm so glad he's where he's at now. I agree with you, he should be a champion. I've said it for a long time as well. So it's great to hear somebody else have this opinion, because the man understands storytelling, to your point, and subtlety. And I'm always a fan of long-term storytelling when it's done right. And for me, the subtlety that he's done for the past 2 years has been nothing short of phenomenal. It's quite literally a slow burn. It's like when you try to smoke a turkey or like smoke a chicken. You gotta let it cook for a long time, and I'm enjoying the ride.
To let it marinate.
Yes. Even better example.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing, though. It's like we're not as fans of him. We're not asking for the Dobie title. We're not asking for the world title. We just want to see Kross get his just due. Because like what you just said a minute ago, with the whole situation with the Gladiator thing, he stayed. He had offers from AEW. He could have gone back to TNA. He could have gone to New Japan. He would have done great in all those companies, but he stayed the loyal guy, just like Triple H. And if I'm Triple H, I'm looking at that like, well, that's a guy that I can bet on. That's a guy I want in the foxhole with me, because that's a guy that I'm not giving him the title. I'm not giving him matches. I'm not giving him main events and stuff like that. He's hardly on the shows. Like, he's always cutting promos on YouTube. And if I'm Triple H, I'm looking at YouTube and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm thinking Karrion Kross's YouTube is more watched than our show. Why is that? It's because Karrion Kross is cutting real promos and people care about him and people are listening to him. It doesn't matter what he puts up. Like, he put up that thing about his socks, about his Freddy socks, and straight away I was like, that needs an edit. That's so fucking cool. He just quoted he just quoted Freddie. That is fucking awesome. That is so cool. After the races, I've got to find a face of. I've got to get a good Freddy Krueger face, good background, and that's the thing. He inspires me so much. I don't know why he doesn't inspire so many other people. But Triple H is in charge now, and he's the guy that in NXT he did make Karrion Kross the guy. We need to remember when NXT was black and gold brand, Triple H was in charge of it, and that's when it was better than Raw and SmackDown. You were like, yeah, Raw and SmackDown was all right. Yeah, they had a little tag team match. Have you seen the match with Karrion Kross and Finn Balor? Oh, that's going to be fucking absolutely amazing. Oh, Samoa Joe's there as well now. Wow, that's just going to be so good. Adam Cole, Samoa Joe, look, it's great. It's going to be brilliant. Even the women's matches. Even now, with Shawn Michaels in charge, a fan of the wrestling, but also someone who knows what he's doing with it. It's absolutely on fire. The women's division of NXT is ridiculous. So good that Bayley went back there. You know what I mean? That's how good that product was.
Well, I'm over the moon because I don't talk too much about my personal life, but I get to have the opportunity to go to Vengeance Day this year. So I'm.
Oh, you lucky son of a bitch!
That's the first time I'm bringing that up. By the time this releases, Vengeance Day might already be past, but I'm very excited to go. What do
you think that thing is at the end with the transmission thing? What do you think it is? Everyone's out there. Also, we still don't know what this number 23 is. What's that?
I don't know. There's certain things I like to analyze, and then there's other things I don't, because I know that the dirt sheets will dig up everything possible. And me personally, I've stayed away from the dirt sheets for the past couple of years, and that's what allowed me to enjoy wrestling more.
Yes.
Partially because to go down, and I know that we haven't gotten to speak much before this podcast. I've done my universe mode since 2016, going on till now, even though I haven't continued the final 10 episodes for the past year. The key thing is I wrote so many stories that it almost nullifies you away from what the current product on TV is doing, because you have this rivalry of, I'm trying to outdo them. I want to outdo them in storytelling. I want to make people care about who I'm writing about. And now with the subtlety, the slow building, I'm like, okay, what I need to do is I just need to stay away from the dirt sheets, because that's what kills it for me. This over-analysis of the business. Well, everyone needs to have a behind the scenes. I like asking people what gets them into wrestling. Why do they love it? What do they get out of the company? So for me, I'm enjoying it way more because of that, because I've taken that step back. So as far as the speculation, I'm just buckling up. I'm literally just clicking my seatbelt, and I'm enjoying it.
You're just enjoying the ride. Basically, what The Rock says: "No, you're old. Shut your mouth and enjoy the ride I'm taking you on." Absolutely.
See, a buddy of mine knows that I actually recorded a video about that line, and then he was like, whatever you do, don't post it, because you're just feeding it. And I'm like, you're right. At the end of the day, I just got to let it go, and I deleted it. But it was me almost critiquing the wording there, because I felt like it was being disrespectful to the people that want to invest their time. Like, he's taking a pawn shot at the people who cherish the ride itself. That's what it felt like.
I mean, this is the thing. The great thing about wrestling is The Rock can come back as a fan favourite, and within 1 second say something bad about Cody Rhodes, and that's it, he's a heel again. I love that about the wrestling. Someone will come back, like, for instance, John Cena come back this week. Everyone will be like, oh my God, he's amazing. All of a sudden, he throws CM Punk out the ring. He gets booed. Monday night, he's a heel. Like, it's one of those things. It's crazy.
Well, that is true, but it's even crazier to see. Part of another problem I have is the internet wrestling community. The IWC is how they coin it.
Oh God, yeah.
Because it reminds me that for the most part, the IWC is the minority voice. There's the occasional, like, the We Won Cody thing that took off, but for the most part, they're the minority. Like,
And you
all
got
of
the
them.
wonderful person that is Dave Meltzer, who is fucking so pro AEW. It's unbelievable.
Well, for example, all I see is posts for the past year basically saying, and this is how much I called it. I said, it's formulaic. As soon as the champion wins, or as soon as Cody wins the belt, everybody on the internet's, at least the bulk of them on Instagram, are going to turn right around in 2 months and say he needs to drop the belt to whoever they put him up against. And they've been like, we need him to heel. He's getting booed. Meanwhile, he's getting the loudest reaction and selling the most merch. It's like, really? Come on. Think business-wise.
Yeah. It's like if John Cena does get that 17th title, everyone's going to be like, take it off him now. It's like, what?
That is true.
If he wins it, say for instance, like Gunther puts it up in the Elimination Chamber, right? He wins the Elimination Chamber, he gets the title. The next night on Raw, they're going to be like, nah, now we want to see CM Punk as champion. We don't care about Cena anymore. It's like, what?
Well, on that note, not to pivot too much, but another question for you is, because you've been talking about characters and development, what do you enjoy the most about professional wrestling / sports entertainment? What captivates you the most?
I would say good story. To iterate to your amazing post that you've just put out, from anyone that's listening to this, go fucking check it out. It's awesome. It's so fucking good. The Rock and Austin, they just work so well together. And I don't think in this day and age there's really been like another, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Triple H and Razor Ramon. They knew how to sell you a match. Like, in my personal opinion, like, I would love to have Paul Heyman as my dad. He is literally the most greatest person ever. But when he's on a podcast, he talks about like literally selling the match and what wrestlers get picked to sell the match. Roman Reigns talks about selling the match. You're going to be like, oh, might check it out, might be good. If Paul Heyman grabs the mic, he makes you want to tramp over small children to watch that television show, just to watch that match. One of the best matches they did it with in recent history was CM Punk and Seth Rollins. That was so good for Netflix. And I do think that's probably going to surface once again. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins was great. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes was great. I think the next big storyline that we all want to sink our teeth into is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. There's so much history there. And they've sort of planted the seeds. Because if you've noticed in the Bloodline 2K thing, the big poster. Now, if we all remember the press conference of WrestleMania, The Rock was the one that showed the Bloodline tree. Where's The Rock on the front cover? It's all about Roman Reigns. And The Rock is the High Chief. He is over Roman Reigns. So I guarantee at WrestleMania, they're already licking their lips about it. It's the High Chief versus the Tribal Chief. And it don't get no better than that. That's a match everyone wants to see.
I do agree, and I've said it for a long time that that buddy that I mentioned previously, who's in my series, he actually pulled up a receipt. This is how crazy this was. When Cody versus Roman 1 happened at WrestleMania 29 and Cody lost, I think I was on a little bit of a tangent because he was talking about how his concern was that they're just going to hold it for another year. And I think I was on a little bit of a run, and I said, I swear, if they basically hold on to this belt for another year, to then finally do Rock versus Roman, where Rock's going to just put him over, like, that's the biggest hose. Yeah. Like, you guys are basically wasting a full year. Like, it needs to be the drop now. And I've been well, to be fair, he can also back it up. I said that Roman should have dropped it to Edge at WrestleMania 37, so what the hell do I know?
But I'll be honest with you. I wanted Edge to win, so
yeah. Me. I was like, it was either there or Money in the Bank where it should have happened, but whatever. But on that note, he pulled up that receipt for WrestleMania 40 on the run up because he was like, dude, please don't tell me you just predicted this. I was like, oh no. I couldn't. Number one, I totally forgot that I had said that. Number two, it was just like, wow, I can't believe you went back a full year of text and looked. and found
That's
that.
commitment.
That was commitment, but it was very funny. Shout out to Class Par for that story. But the key thing was we both agreed you can do that, but it was either too late for this title reign, or you need to do it without the belt, because no matter what, Roman and Rock will sell with the championship or not.
Yeah.
And from what I love that about this current wrestling, if I'm gonna not even try and speculate, but I love this planting of the seeds with Cody and CM Punk, because I feel like there's a very in-depth story there as well.
Yes.
There's so many. Drew McIntyre to me has become the most compelling character that feels just so three-dimensional with his layers in the past couple years. And even Seth Rollins has always been meh on the microphone to me, but I do love how his character has story. Chad Gable has story. Even if they're quite literally the side stories. What I always loved was, and this is kind of how I tried to model my universe mode, was that there was so many moving parts that you could watch a separate show and be swept up from whatever brand into those characters and those stories. And there's so many moving junctions and segments that you're just captivated by what's next. And if you start from the top, it becomes a trickle down effect. So if you build the story up top and you work your way downwards, then done well, it makes you care about even the smallest characters, and even they matter to the audience. And that, I think, is the masterful part of storytelling, where if you can make everything matter, even to the finest detail. It might not be the forefront, it might not be the main plot, but if you can make people care about what R-Truth is doing with the Judgment Day, for heaven's sake, then it's gold, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As long as you can make them care.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest two examples for that is JBL. Like, he was just a tag team wrestler, and then he came back, and all of a sudden he's feuding with Eddie Guerrero for the title. We're like, what the fuck? Like, that's like I don't know, Alex Shelley turning and just being like, I'm going to go for the world title now. So, sorry, what? Like, that was such a flip on the head. It was ridiculous. And he just like, but he went with it, and genuinely, over time, he did become one of the workhorses for that show. SmackDown was JBL's show. It's like when Roman Reigns first started doing the acknowledge me thing, no one really paid attention to it. And then after a couple of years of doing it and proving it and beating people and stacking people, you got to sort of give it to him. And we stick our fingers in the air now because we do acknowledge how good that guy has got in such a short space of time. And he's another person that creative were just like, we're going to push you as the guy. And he's like, well, I can't be the guy. And he's done the Intercontinental, we've done the United States. And that's the road they need to go down with someone like Karrion Kross. Down that road, start him slow. He's a slow burn. The difference with him is Roman Reigns was trying to be a fan favourite, where Karrion Kross, he's very good at playing the heel. I can't really see him as a fan favourite. But if you want to go back further than that, I used to watch SmackDown and be like, SmackDown is the #1 show for two reasons. MVP and Matt Hardy, they are killing it right now. Any single match that he had, he carried SmackDown on his shoulders for about, I would say, 3 to 4 months. There was loads of other stuff going on. There was real great superstars, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, they're all in the mix. But as soon as Matt Hardy and MVP, they had the best matches. They had the best promos. They even had the best funny segments when they were playing basketball and stuff, trying to one-up each other as tag team champions. It was amazing to see, when you give someone the ball, how far they can run with it. It's just a lot of people don't get that ball, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, well, this is another thing that I learned while booking my own universe mode, is you learn to accept the fact that not everyone's going to be the man, the top guy.
Yes.
And there's that balance that you realize that you have to choose. Okay, well, whose turn is it going to be to have the ball? Do they engage the audience enough if I give it to them? And how can I build up the next person? And then do you go back to a legend that or a character that you've already established? If you see mine, there's about, I think it's like 76 custom wrestlers that have been a part of the series. Half of them were made by other people. And you're trying to manage their own interests, their own goals, what they want to try and do with storytelling. And some were great, some really put the stress on you, put the gray hairs on you, and make you think, oh crud. Oh my gosh, this is an ego trip. Not calling anybody out, because everyone was, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with how everything turned out, with a few minor regrets on my own booking and my own writing. But I felt like
you were the Vince Russo.
I wouldn't say Vince Russo. I'm not even trying to praise myself, because I feel like there's so many things I could still change and grow upon. I certainly wasn't over the top like Vince Russo in terms of making very boneheaded decisions like
Viagra on Cole.
Like making himself world champion, for example. Now I did use my character at certain points, but it was to take a beating. Like, you beat up the commentator, because my character was the commentator. I was the commentator. I was the head writer. I was everything. And even on my final 10 episodes that I haven't made yet, there's so much care that I want to put in there with the promos, because I have to cut promos. I have to tell stories to build people up. Kind of what I loved, and the story that I wanted to focus on with season 10 and season 9. I call them seasons, but it's building up to the next WrestleMania, so I'm on the 10th WrestleMania. But the key thing is, I wanted to really tell the story of generations, that people will fall to the wayside, but it's who picks it up, who's the next person up. And you blend those stories together, and you come across those who have gone through trials and tribulations. You've had people have different trajectories. You'll occasionally come across a similar gimmick, and some fail. Some do fail. But then it's, okay, how do I pivot? How do I still squeeze value out of this person? How do I take the status quo that WWE writes, and how do I flip it on its head? And there's so much that goes into that. There's so many inner workings to make people care. I could talk about one character in my universe mode, in what I wrote down for him, and he may have 5 matches, but I try to put so much into it to make you at least take a look at him. NXT is probably the biggest challenge, because there's so much there. It's like the modern NXT, where there's so many talents that you're trying to juggle, and I feel bad, because looking back, there's certain things where it's like, oh, I wanted to give them more exposure. At the end of the day, I overanalyze things. I overlook things. But the full point that I was getting to on this tangent was that I get that Karrion Kross, I want to see him as the guy. I want to see certain people get that nod, that stamp of approval. But I remind myself that, hey, Matt, you were in that same position. You held the chair of the gavel of determining who gets sentenced and who gets the pardon. You have the distinction, the choice, the power to decide the course, the trajectory, the very direction the ship is steering. And it's a daunting task, and it's tough to choose as well. I think Kross can hold the ball, but the majority of the fans may not think that. I think he can be booked as the Thanos, the master manipulator, the guy who works his way to the top, that feels legit, that is legit. But I digress. Sorry to go on a huge tangent on you.
I absolutely love tangents. I go on them all the time, so you crack on as long as I love that. I do. I'm talking about something having for dinner, and then the next minute I'm talking about what I'm doing on Wednesday, and my girlfriend just be like, what the fuck? You said about 7 things. What are we doing first? All 7. Let's go.
Well, not to get too far, or to get back to another question for you. What has been, because you mentioned dream matches, but I'm going to shift it slightly. What is your favorite moment or match in wrestling that you have witnessed, and why?
Oh, God, there are so many.
There are.
There are so many, but there is one that really stuck with me. I have tremendous respect for someone that is at the highest peak and then go to the lowest point and then drag themselves back out. And I don't think I've ever seen a better example than that when Scott Hall went into the Hall of Fame. I was in floods of tears when that man went in the Hall of Fame. I've got so much respect and time for Scott Hall. And when he passed away, it really did affect me. I think I did a tribute poster for him But then I think after that, I had about a couple of like 3 or 4 like times like, well, going to do something, but I couldn't do it. And the only other time would probably be when Bray Wyatt passed. That was really hard as well. But not to bring it down, let's bring it back up to a good moment. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's when John Cena beat The Rock for the title. The awful, disgusting title that The Rock revealed, the Adobe Championship then. It was absolutely the worst title in the fucking world. And when The Rock took that thing off, I was like, what's that piece of shit? I'd rather go out and get myself a plastic belt and melt the fucking logo on it than rather carry around that turd of a belt. It was dog shit.
So I assume you love the current belt.
I like the current belt. The belts that we've got now are probably the nicest belts we've ever had. I'll be honest with you. Even the NXT ones. I did like the Wing Angel though. I loved seeing that on Cody. That was great. I do think that I'd love to keep that belt. I'd like there to be a stipulation that whatever belt Cody grabs, that's the title. But that's not going to happen. He's going to grab his title.
Well,
he's going to grab a belt.
What's funny is I knew when he was. This is where you read a little bit too, where I'm reading a little bit into wrestling, but I love the podcast on Chris Van Vliet. See?
Yeah.
Reference? He shout out to him.
Yep.
Jinx. Master of the podcast, as well as another person, the Wrestling Classic, another great person to listen to, in my opinion. But Chris Van Vliet was talking to him, and Cody mentioned that he wanted to find some way to get the title back. And then when he came out with the belt, I immediately thought they're going to run some merch. So Kevin's probably going to find some way to keep the belt for a little bit longer just to print out stuff. And it happened. I'm like, oh, I need to stop. I read too much. I'm too much of a writer.
I do that as well. When I'm watching Raw, I'm like, well, he's going to come out because he was talking on the podcast the other day about, oh, shit, I should have listened to that podcast. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I also love storytelling, so it turns into, well, that's what I would do. Yep. Oh, well, yeah. I shouldn't have said anything. So anytime,
I'm not doing any of that. I'm just,
I would tell you that anytime family, to segue just a tiny bit again, anytime I go with family to a show and they ask me for my opinion, I always keep it vague. And the reason being is because I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, they know it's theater. I know it's theater. I'm the nerd behind it, but I don't want to ruin the unpredictability behind it for them. So they may know this, but they don't know the inner workings. So I'm just lock and key where I'm like, I'm not telling you a damn thing.
I can't do that. I can't lie to save my life at all. I've said this so many times. I've said if I cheated on my girlfriend and come back and tell her, there'd be no fucking point. I am just the worst ever at keeping lying. I can't do it. I've lost friends. I've just they're like, oh, what do you think this looks like? Do you want my honest opinion? Do you want the opinion that you're looking for? I want the honest opinion. I think you're like a fucking idiot. But it's not me that's got to wear it, is it? I'm sure if I wore like a tank top or whatever, people would be like, why are you wearing a tank top? Like, it doesn't, my opinion doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just my opinion. Doesn't matter. 3 other people might be like, that looks amazing. Like, there's some bands that I really like. I love Limp Bizkit. I think they're the greatest band ever. But some people will be like, you like Limp Bizkit? I'm like, yeah, fuck you. I like Limp Bizkit. You know what I mean? I'm not changing my opinion since high school, pretty much. I'm not one of those people. My favourite artist is still Eminem, and my favourite band is Limp Bizkit. And after that, it's Kiss. You know, they're the bands that I grew up with. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't conform, and I think quite a lot of people do conform, and I think that's why I like the people like Bray Wyatt, Karrion Kross. They go against the grain. They're not your typical person. Like some of the stuff that Karrion Kross says, you're like, did he just say that? Like, he's like, oh, just like check out my Freddy socks. Yeah, because I'll kill you in your fucking sleep. Like, the guy looked absolutely like Karrion Kross is really going to come in his house and kill him while he was asleep. And that's what's great about it. He got the reaction he wanted.
Oh, man. Well, so I know that you've looked back at my WrestleMania posters. You mentioned the moments. a little bit of, in terms of a little bit of subtlety on the edits. You mentioned the Rock and Cena moment for WrestleMania 29 on that change of the belts. I don't know if you noticed, but on the 28 poster, I put once in a lifetime on the top, and then on the second, I did like a tape like over the once part, and I wrote twice on it on the very top.
No, I'll have to go back and check that out.
That's the sort of, like, you talk about details in my stuff. That's the kind of subtlety. And that idea, shout out to Class Par, I believe that was his idea, where we were talking about it, and I think he was just like, you know what would be cool is if you just put the duct tape over it as like a little subtlety, and if anybody sees it, they'll get the joke if they're a hardcore wrestling fan. If they don't, so then I came up with, okay, well then I'll put once in a lifetime for sure on 28 to tee up the joke. Like, wow. Yep, it happened again. But it's that subtlety where...
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, I like I said, when I saw your things, it was just like literally like I saw him as a whole. I was like doing an edit, and I was like, I'm going to check out this guy's stuff, and I was just literally liking all of your shit because it was just so good. I was just like, yeah, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome. But I'm one of those people that go, oh yeah, that's awesome, and then I'll go back after someone said, and I'll go look for little details that they might not even realise that I don't like. I looked at some of my artwork the other day, and he was like, I really love you, like we did that subtle bit there, and I'm like, did I? Did I? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's like I've got something in my head for a picture. I'm like, right, Karrion Kross, what's he like? He's like black gothic, crosses, skulls, mist, great, boom, there we go, sorted. But someone else would look at it and be like, love the way you did that texture and made the grey go into the black. And I'm like, didn't mean to do that at all, but you crack on, bro. You crack on with that.
Well, so my truly my favorite part, I could sit here all day long and point out Easter eggs that I intentionally or didn't intentionally put in. Some artwork doesn't have much Easter eggs. Some are insanely subtle, like I think the Michael Jordan one, which was insanely off-brand for me, just because I'd never done a basketball edit. Even the lines have references.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't like them or look at them because I'm not that person to be like, yep, I'm going to like this Michael Jordan poster. I've never watched baseball.
That's fair.
I've never watched basketball. It's not my sport. My sport is wrestling, and that is it. I'm not into any other sport at all. Tried to get into American football. It's just, it's not for me. I'm a wrestling guy through and through, and that's it. If I see a wrestling thing, I'll like it up. But I'm not one of these people that go, I talk to that guy, I like that guy, so I'm going to like every single one of his posters. I'm not, I hate people like that. They go, oh, yeah. Oh, do you like Eminem? No, but it was a cool poster. Don't fucking like it then.
Yes.
You don't get it. It's for you. The John Cena posters for you. The Eminem posters for people that like Eminem. Don't just like it just because it's on my page. I hate people like that.
Well, at the end of the day, it is your brand. So, yes. like for example, for every wrestling post for you do the Eminem or you do the Wyatt Wednesday, and for me, it's for every wrestle. I'm a huge American sports fan, like a huge nerd. So for every one of those I do, I'm like, oh, but I want to do a sports edit. I want to do a sports edit. Even the podcast, for every WWE video I make, I'm like, but I want to do a podcast. I want to invite people. I want to talk to people, or do like a commentary, something else off the walls. Minecraft.
I mean, you crack on. You know what I mean? Like, generally. What I think a page for you is, what I did like about your page is it wasn't just all wrestling, right? That's what I did like about it. It was some more of your personality mixed in there. I refrained for a long time putting personal stuff up for myself, and I was like, fuck it. I am me. I'm not going to cover anything up. If I've got looking a bit fat, I'm going to put up a picture. I'm going looking a bit fat this week, but next week I'm going to sort it out. I'm not one of these people that just post up the posing pictures with me flexing muscles. I do that because there was so many times when I looked in a mirror and I was a fucking huge mess. I just was. And no one else did that but me. I made the decision to start eating healthy and taking care of myself, or my mental health and everything. And that's the thing. When I started doing the podcasting, I was this little skinny, chubby little kid. When I came back, I looked like I looked like a wrestler. And people were saying to me, fuck me, where have you been? I'm like, Well, I can't advise it, but have a 10-year relationship, break up, and literally be told that you'll never amount to anything but your family, and pick up some weights. It's a great reason. I don't recommend it. It's heartbreak. There's misery. There's going down the path of some dark places with alcohol, but when you come out the other end of it, you do look like a Greek god. So you crack on. You know what I mean?
No, truly, it's about fortitude and strength,
Yeah.
and you display that with resilience.
Yes.
But even like the Formula One, I've had people tell me that my Formula One edits are their favorites, like the artwork kind of designs, and I love Formula One, for example.
Yes.
So like Lewis Hamilton is one of my favorite athletes.
Yeah. I remember you telling me you liked Formula One. I remember that. I do remember in the conversations that we've had and stuff. I do remember you saying like your baseball cards and yeah. So, and I love the fact that you've got that, and you put that out there, and it's not just wrestling, because there are people that are on your page. There are people on my page that don't like the wrestling stuff at all, and they just literally constantly say, "You're going to put something up for Marshall Monday," and I'm like, "You're not a wrestling fan."
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. But like, you've got your niche. You know what I mean? You've got your people that you go, that person's not a wrestling fan.
Yeah. But on that note, when did you get into wrestling? Not wrestling. When did you get into digital art making? And then, what kind of influenced? What brought you into it? And then when?
Right, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly when it was, and this is going to show my age big time. Do you remember the Razor Motorola phones?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there was an edit suite on there, and WWE released brand new bios. It was the one where it was like just their logo and their really small picture. And I used to get them pictures and I used to edit them. And basically, it had things like you could put what's the best one? Like fire, wind, and all that. And I just started doing it. And then one day I started being like, oh, the pay-per-views are on. Let me see what I can do. There's that really cool pay-per-view of, I remember the best one that I saw was a Jeff Hardy one where I started doing it on my phone. There's a Jeff Hardy one with No Way Out where he's got the fish tank on his head. And I thought, that's so fucking cool. Maybe I could do something with that. Or, so I got the picture. And I basically put him, instead of he was in water, I managed to edit his head with another render of a head, and I put him in an insane asylum. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to post it because I've got nowhere to post it. Instagram didn't really exist at that time. The only thing was Facebook, and I call Facebook Wastebook because you literally go on it and just fucking waste your life. It's just, all it is just like you can put up, having a great day today, the sun is shining, guarantee some pleb's going to be like, why is it a good day? Well, I've just lost my job. So, mate, I didn't ask for your fucking life story. I just wanted to tell people that follow me, it's a nice day. Go fuck yourself. And before you know it, you are literally going down that wormhole of every single person attacking you for just putting something up. So I was like, delete, gone, done, right, I'm off social media completely. And then I just started seeing this thing of like, the WWE, you've got a brand new Instagram page. I'm like, what's Instagram? And I looked at it, and it was like with the filters of like when it was like the yellow photo, and that's the only filter you had. And I was like, oh, okay. So I got this app, Pixelar, I think PixelarX or whatever it is, but it was free at that time. You got to pay for it now, but it was free at the time. And I just started doing Christmas edits for my family. And then I think I'd done a Roman Reigns edit where he's wearing a Christmas hat. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And I put it up on, I don't know if you know the website DeviantArt.
Yes.
Yeah, I put it up on there and it got like 400 likes. And I'm like, oh, there must be something to this. Maybe I can keep on posting it on here. And then, I think like everyone, we went to the Mix thing, where you can make your own website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically what happened was I made my own website and probably about 40,000 Trojan horses and like viruses and everything. So got a brand new laptop and sorted that all out. I started doing my music thing because I make music as well. Not anymore, I don't. I retired when I had kids, but I started making music and I needed artwork for it. So I started making artwork for the music. And then I just basically saw that Instagram was getting bigger. I joined Instagram, and the rest is history. I just started making posters for people. I would actually say like, right, okay, requests are open. Anybody want? And I start doing the tags when tags actually meant anything, where you could tag people and they'd be like, WWE, and 7,000 people saw it. These days, it's like, John Cena, 6 people see it because Instagram, like, nah, sorry, you're not getting popular on our dime. You ain't paying for anything. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
As soon as you become verified and pay that money, you flooding. Like, when I lost my blue tick, when I lost my last account, yeah, I couldn't ever get it back because you got like a year or 2 years under that account, and they only just reinstated. I didn't know if you get an account that's reinstated, they then once again start you back from like zero. And that's basically what happened. And I just started posting on Instagram, and I started taking requests. And then after that, I started doing pay-per-view posters, and I started thinking, well, these requests now are getting a bit too much. I can't really focus on the artwork that I want to do. So pay-per-views came up, like NXT, and the graphics came up. And then I found a website called PNGs, and I was like, okay, so what's a PNG? It's a picture that you can do. And then I found out about rendering. I tried Photoshop for, I would say, about an hour, and I was like, fuck this. This is way too complicated for someone with special needs. This ain't fuck this shit. So I went back to the basics with the website, with the app. I had to pay for it now. But ever since then, I've just done it all on my phone and got my pictures every week. I'm like, that's a good Karrion Kross picture. I could cut round that, and then I could get the CM Punk picture because he's facing him on Raw this week, and put them together, put a red background on them, and then just go from there. Basically, find something that's for each person, and yeah, it's just basically become a way of life, really. To be fair, and I don't think I could give it up if I tried.
That's fair. I totally respect that.
Yeah.
I mean,
what about yourself? Like, did you just do the whole YouTube thing, and then you did the artwork, and then you just basically one day started putting it out? Yeah.
So that's a great question. I started YouTube almost 10 years ago. My anniversary will be in about 8 or 7 months for my 10th year on YouTube.
I will say congratulations now, because I'm terrible with that. I'm a man and everything written down, so congratulations for that.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And
unless you put something up going it's 10 years, but bad check in with that.
I want to do something special. I just don't know how or when I will find the time, because I'm always so slammed now with life. But kind of went just posting whatever on YouTube, and then I did like this My Career WWE 2K16 thing, and that exploded. I never reached the same height in terms of viewership, but it built me the foundation for a core audience. And as a young boy, it gave me the confidence to try and start a Universe Mode series, bringing people in, telling stories, and the stories came with experience in life and attempting to write more in my personal time. And then I wanted to learn myself how to edit and how to make graphics. Like the key thing was the show posters for the matchup graphics. And I couldn't match cards. Thank you. Searching for the word. And it was slowly just experimenting, trying different things. I had the worst time as a starting ground. I've used PixArt since the beginning of all of these edits, since maybe 2018. But I wasn't really using it. I only started using it truly, consistently around 2021. And from there, I was invited to this Discord, where it was this hub center for the creator wrestler community on the video games, called Blackwire. Lovely place.
That's a cool name.
I agree. And it was run by a guy named James Frost, who was a pretty big name in the creator wrestler community. And you would find other people from Instagram, for example. There's, I can't remember his full name, but it was Green something. And he makes
he's gonna be like, my name is he's gonna be like, it's be like, my name is Blackwire. That sounds like something from like Call of Duty or something. The brand new Call of Duty Blackwire.
But it built. So I joined pretty much, I think, a couple weeks after it was created. I was invited by a buddy, and it snowballed from, I think, 100 people at the time to, I think, we're over 1.5 thousand.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, in terms of people, the only downside is if you post a self-promotion where I promote the podcast, it's going to get swamped by 10 people waiting for somebody to post something, and then they dominate the notification when everyone checks it. So it gets lost. But what I did for myself was I would make logos for people in the request boards. And it tested me and pushed me into using Pixar more. And then people were telling me, "Hey, you know what you should really do? You should make match graphics. You should really do this stuff." So I was experimenting around with it, and then it turned into pretty much, "Hey, you should 2 or 3 people make an Instagram dedicated to it, and I'll follow, I'll support it." And it was like, "Okay, cool, all right, you know what? I'll give it a shot." And I waited till the turn of the year of 2024, and I made my first poster, and from then on, I was off to the races from there. It just meant that the more I did it, the more I sacrificed YouTube. And then I hit the roadblock of what stopped me on YouTube, at least posting consistently, was number one, life. Number two, you hit that block of I'm on the final 10 episodes and I want it to be perfect. I don't know how to write all of it. And you just kick the bucket down the line day by day. And then you reach the point where it's been 9 months.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's work. Yeah, well, I get it.
It's the final 10 episodes aren't necessarily work. It's an emotional pain for me. If I'm going to sit down and write, because it's writing the conclusion to everything I built since 2016, and it's the crescendo, and I want it to be the best, the best feeling for everyone. But the more I wait, the more the payoff for everyone is just waiting and waiting, and then they forget about it. So it's detrimental to them and a disservice to them, I think. And I feel bad. Then there's that guilt. I overanalyze. But I care a lot about the people that tune in. I care a lot about finishing the story. I just want it to be perfect for them, and dedicate the proper time to, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop posting on Instagram. I'm going to focus on the next couple weeks finishing the story, is what I would ultimately have to do.
Yeah. Which is a really hard decision, because genuinely, you've talked about me in such high esteem, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. But obviously, it must be like a massive, like, oh wow, like someone that I look up to thinks my shit's good. So I need to maybe. I totally get it. You want to be in one place and be in another. Yeah. It's a little bit like juggling kids, because that's the predicament that I'm in. I'm like, right, I want to be here and do this for my son, but my daughter's over here wanting me to do something completely fucking different. And yeah, you got to stretch yourself. A great quote from Fred Durst is that you can't please everyone. You sure would like to, but the day that you stop pleasing everyone is the one day that you will happily please yourself. And at the end of the day, we come into this world on our own. We go out on our own. We need to understand that the people around us will be the people that will, respect us and know that we did our best. And the people that don't, well, they're the people that don't belong in our circle. So we just, don't worry about them.
That is very fair. I was not ready for that. Giving me fortune cookie wisdom, and I appreciate it.
Fortune cookie wisdom, I love it.
Yeah, fortune cookie wisdom.
Put that shit on a shirt.
Fortune cookie. Don't tempt me. I will.
I'll look for it. I'll be like, oh, how much that shirt, by the way?
New shirt merch. Fortune cookie wisdom. On the back, it'll be my logo.
Absolutely. And on the back, you say it all the time, but I digress. That is your number one thing that you say. Let's just say it right there.
But I digress. Yes, that's actually there's a few phrases I use. You could find it on my commentary. There was little ticks, little snippets that I would commonly use, that would provide transitions for the next scene. in commentary, because ultimately you're narrating. So there's the little ones that people would point out. But
Well, I love the fact that you got the passion for it. I mean, I can tell that you've got the passion for your artwork, but I can tell like through the whole of this conversation, it's always led back to your universe, and it's really cool to see that you haven't forgot where you've come from. I always find that really humbling. Like, I am very much a person, when I do artwork and someone asks me, you know, what can I improve? I'm honest, but I will always say to them, I can send you my very first poster. It's absolute dog shit, right? It is. It's absolute fucking dog shit. And then you look at my latest poster and it's like, I didn't do this yesterday. I've been putting the work in since Motorola fucking Razor. You know what I mean? I've been putting the work in. Like, so it's not easy, but I love the fact that you still have from humble beginnings. And I think that's why I like people like John Cena. He remembers when he had to eat a pizza to stay in wrestling. You know, he had to. I remember like Mick Foley had to sleep in his car. You know what I mean? People like that, and you think to yourself, they're the people that deserve the fame that they've got, and they're the people that are still humble. Eminem is one of them. He's one of the people that everyone goes, you're the GOAT, you're the greatest. He's like, no, I can give you a list of 5 other rappers that are much better than me.
mm-hmm.
And that's what keeps him humble, and that's what grounds him. And I think that that's a great quality in yourself, Matt. And I think you should hold on to that, because it shows that if someone starts something up with you and it gets life, you know, like Jeff Goldblum says, life happens. It's just one of those things of like, the people, the real ones that know that you put work into it and care about it, they'll listen and they'll be like, do you know what? Matt knows what he's doing. He just wants it to be perfect. But I'm very guilty of that, because I sometimes put out a poster, I get about 4 people saying how good it is, and then I look at it and be like, it's fucking shit. Like, I want to take it down. And then like the other ones, like that Penta one, I'm like, that's not even that great, that Penta one. It's got like 5,000 views, and it's because it's gone on another wrestling website. It's not because someone's seen my stuff, but I have to get in the mind frame of, but they have seen your stuff, because then some people come along and follow. That's why I always repost your shit. Like, generally, if I'm like, that's amazing, that's so cool. I really hope that the Rock and Austin one gets the flowers that it deserves, because it is really fucking good. It looks like something from, like, I thought it looked like something from, like, you know, when you get your WrestleMania DVD and then inside the cover sleeve is like, you know, the the background for the matches, and I was like, that looks exactly like that. That looks so fucking cool. So I really do hope that soars, and you know, anyone that, you know, says, "Oh, great artwork," absolutely fucking not. That wasn't me. That was this guy, and he fucking kills it. And go follow him because he's awesome. I would.
Well, that's
I don't.
well on that same vein. Number one, first and foremost, before I proceed with my point, thank you for the kind words. I'm always grateful. A quote that I was remember being told once, and I can't remember who told it to me or where I had potentially read it, but it was something along the lines of, and I apologize if I butcher it for you and the audience, but it was being humble means recognizing that we're not on earth to see how important we can become, but to see how much difference we can make in the lives of others. And
I like that. I don't know who said that, but I do like that. I just hope it's not someone I don't like.
I probably couldn't quote that to heart. Maybe I butchered it, but it was something along those lines where it was a reminder of always remember where you came from. And I could tell you, it's funny enough, you'll probably see the video get posted before yours. My 6th episode, a funny little bet with myself and the guy on my 5th episode was that he bet that he could, I think it was something along the lines of, he bet that he could name at least 65% of the custom characters that were brought in. And then he didn't realize that it was like 70 plus names.
Okay.
And he didn't study. So episode 6 is the quiz. But I took it off camera and I got, I think, a 99 or 100 on it. And he was just like, yeah, of course you remember all that. But then I was also like, yeah, but I've been a year removed. I don't remember. I at least I thought I didn't remember. But
Yeah.
I could name you storylines for the most part off the top. Like, somebody can bring it up, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that storyline. Yeah, this isn't, we did this and this and this. But and then I would also, in the same vein, give credit to everyone else. Pretty much everyone who I've had on has been somebody I've worked with. Like, they gave me their character, and we worked in some way on it, and we molded the character into their own persona on screen for YouTube. And I loved the creative process and the execution of it. And we even talked about some of the shortcomings, some of the mistakes I made as a booker, as a storyteller, but overall, I feel like we got to share something about it. So kind of the point to that is, I always take pride in trying to store knowledge and trying to remember details, even if it's about the most mundane thing, because I feel like it could matter one day. So that's where like the nerd with sports comes into play. I could name you iconic players from baseball's pastime, like Jimmy Fox, Sandy Koufax, Satchel Paige, Honus Wagner, like a bunch of random names to other people. But to me, I'm like, these guys paved the way for baseball. For wrestling, it could be, somebody could be like, oh yeah, I could name you. My work buddy, who's a huge wrestling fan, he challenged me to do a WWE Champions quiz. Name every WWE champion that's ever, like the 54 champions. I named all of them, from Buddy Rogers to Billy Graham to. But
I mean, I wear hats a lot, Matt. Right, I have probably about 85 hats. If I had 85 heads, my hat would go after every single one of them, because I have been a wrestling fan all my fucking life. But I'm not that person. The best way I can describe it is I'm probably the Jerry the King Lawler to someone else's JR. You know, I know my history. I love the sport, but I don't know the stats. And I don't know the dates.
So funny you mention that. Just to show how in depth I got with this. A little bit of a story here, but somebody on Blackwire had asked me for a wrestling fun fact, because I think the joke was that I was a bit of a nerd, so they asked me for a random fact about wrestling like a week ago. And I was like, okay, well, in the spirit of the Royal Rumble, I'll give you a fact. And the fact was, somebody pointed this out to me. Let me make sure I have this right before I spew it. The fact was, there have been 45 WrestleMania or 45 Royal Rumble matches. So there's been 45 winners. There have only been 24 times out of those 45 that somebody has main evented WrestleMania, the winner's main event of WrestleMania, which means that it is a 53% chance that what we're going to see this year, there's a 53% chance that the winner of each Royal Rumble for the men's and the women's will headline WrestleMania.
You just fucking blew my mind with the whole stats thing.
And then the other fact coupled with that is that 10 out of the 46 people who have main evented WrestleMania have gone through the NXT system.
It's no coincidence that your name is Matt, because seriously, you are up on your stats like Jeremy.
So somebody was like, how the heck did you know that? Well, funny enough, it all got that. This is where things happen. I go super in depth where there's that random person on Instagram that spouts some nonsense, and I feel like, let me look that up real quick. And then you do the research, and then for some boneheaded reason, I just retain it. Like it's an irrelevant, it's a non-important fact that you would see on WWE's hype video for the Royal Rumble. It has no significance whatsoever. Why would I know that?
I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and be like it has no relevance. That's fucking impressive, Matt. No, I'm not downplaying that whatsoever. If I said to you in a fucking quiz thing, someone said to me, I don't know, fucking Royal Rumble winners. I'd be like, hang on, let me go through it. You'd be like, what? So there's this guy. Matt's got it. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Just sit here pretty.
Well, even if I don't know, it always turns into, I really want to find out. So even if I don't know the answer, I'll probably not even try and work it. I might make a guess, and then I'll be like, well, now I need to look it up because I need to know this. And it turns into, I don't know, I take pride in retaining knowledge. So even my own universe mode, people have been blown away by the fact that, number one, I can name the creative wrestlers that have come in, but I can also regurgitate like random statistics about how many episodes each person or some of the people were champions. I shouldn't say each person because I can't do that, but it's because, like, number one, my job was to be the commentator. Like, I wasn't just the storyteller, I was the commentator on my own YouTube channel. So I was the color commentator as well as the play-by-play. So you want to give, how do I make people care? Well, I got to know the statistics. I got to run it down for people. This guy's been champion for 150 episodes combined in all of his title reigns, but he's held the United States Championship 5 times with 55 episodes to his name. That puts him first on the all-time list in universe mode. Like, I would fit that into their entrance to help people realize, oh shoot, this guy's decorated.
The magnitude of your character. That's some serious fucking talent, man. That goes off to you.
I know we went way off to the wayside with my own.
That's amazing. Like, once again, we go off on a tangent, but generally that's what you're gonna get. So,
but that's me. That's the backstory.
I love it. I love it.
So,
you know what I mean?
back to asking. I'll try and keep this with because we have reached over the hour mark. I'll try and hit you with the last couple questions I have. You've already answered what got you into digital art, but I think you hinted at it before. What programs have you or do you currently use for your digital art?
I have literally always used Pixel LR. I think it's called. It's had so many different names, but that is the number one thing that I have used. I've used it pretty much for my whole Instagram career. So anyone that's actually seen any digital art of mine, it's always been that. I've never gone anywhere else. There was one time where they couldn't get the funding for the app, and it actually disappeared from the thing, and man, was so fucking miserable. I couldn't make anything, but they still had it on PC. But I've done them on PC, and generally, I look back at the ones on PC, and I'm like, mate, the only thing that PC stands for is proper crap. They're dog shit. They're fucking shit. I was so happy when they announced that they got the funding and they brought it back, but the reason they brought it back is because you have to pay for it now, and I'm like, I don't mind paying for it. Like, it's what I need. People will pay for a subscription. It's like, yeah, it's like recently we've got TNA. We got the TNA app. The only bad thing about it is it's meant to be Adobe.com based. It's meant to be Adobe Network, basically. They gave the rights to them, and it's completely set up like Adobe Network and everything. The only difference is my Adobe Network was £10 each month. This is £300 for the year. And I'm like, nah, I'm not fucking doing it.
Oh,
yeah. No. It's a bit deceiving because you pay for the actual app. It's £10. You pay for the app, no problem with that. And I got it, and I did all those posters for Genesis. I didn't know that you had to pay extra for the pay-per-view, so I didn't watch Genesis. So I did those posters, and I never actually saw the show. I watched it on YouTube. I thought that was really bad that Adobe, a big, huge, massive company, and they give it to you for £10, and TNA are nowhere near as big a company as them, and they want me to pay £300 for the year. What happens if it turns out to be shit? You know what I mean?
That's a great point. Although you're taking that gamble with the WWE Network when Vince was writing.
Yeah, exactly. It was nowhere near as fucking good, was it? And don't get me wrong, I love Vince McMahon because despite what the rumors were of whatever happened, it's his personal life. And at the end of the day, it's like I sit on the fence with loads of people when I say this. It's like the Chris Benoit thing, right? I've got kids and I know what he done to his kids, and I get that, but he says that's his own personal life. You can't disparage what he done in the fucking ring. You just can't. I can separate the two. A lot of people can't, but I can.
Yeah, I think the phrase is separating the art from the
Yeah,
persona, because or the character. Yeah, separating the
yeah,
persona
yeah,
versus the reality, because the
yeah,
reality behind the curtain is that, oh well, that okay, yikes, but at least from what we saw on screen, they had an influence on us, and it's unfortunate that they've on their personal
yeah,
life have chosen to do such a thing. But I think
yeah.
it's still good to separate the two. Um, Great in ring performer, horrible what he did at the end of his life. I
Yes,
can't believe it. And then yeah, it still shocks me to this day that somebody would do that.
yes,
And then for
yeah,
Vince, it's like, well, I don't know what has been proven in court, so I just keep my opinion out of it because it's still being deliberated. But if it's all
yeah.
true, piece of trash. Am I shocked? As unfortunate as it is, no. But it's disgusting if that's all true. That's as far as I'm considered. But as far as his character, best villain in wrestling history.
Yes, yes. This is the thing, though. I watched the McMahon thing. I'm thinking, there might be something here. They literally showed a piece of paper. They showed a video. They didn't actually show that it was Vince McMahon's phone that these things came from and Brock Lesnar's phone. They just literally showed a picture, and it was like Brock. I'm not being horrible or nothing, but he's probably not even, he probably doesn't go by the name as Brock. He might go by something else. It was really sort of like the first couple of episodes were really good. And then the other one just turned into a smear campaign of how like sick he was and all this. And it was like, I do think he's one of those people that was just very misunderstood. I don't think that any of the stuff happened. I don't, but unfortunately, it's like I made a Brock Lesnar poster. I want to see Brock Lesnar come back because I don't believe that he done half the stuff that they said he done. There's no proof. And now all of a sudden the charges have been dropped and everything, and now everyone's like, Vince McMahon's starting up another company. It's like, but why? We went through all that just for this. So I'm thinking to myself, but in the long run, we got Triple H. So I'm not too upset about it because our product is the best it's ever been. But it's just one of those things of when people go, oh, I can't stand Triple H. Vince McMahon. But it's like, yeah, but Vince McMahon gave me the world that I love so much. He gave me Hulk Hogan. He gave me Shawn Michaels. He gave me Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I look up to as like mentors and family members. I don't have family, so I look up to people like Seth Rollins as a brother and stuff like that. And it's like I get advice from them and I take it, and I'm just like, but if it wasn't for Vince McMahon hiring these people, I wouldn't have a fucking clue who they are. So you've got to respect the people that done it before, not what he done, but what he did. Not what he's, what he did for us as a company. He gave us all these people, people like Edge and stuff. If he didn't get the start in WWE, he might have never made it to a big wrestling superstar. It's just a crazy situation, but I do get why, the whole situation. And I love the fact that Triple H has remained on the fence with it. I mean, because it's got to be the hardest for Triple H. He's married to his daughter. It's basically his son-in-law. He's got, he's the grandfather of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
He has got, and he's the one that's basically gone, see that company that you built up? I'm taking that now. That's mine. And then half of it has gone to The Rock. It's like The Rock and Triple H, two people that he hired in his office, now run his company. It's got to be a mindfuck for him.
I would agree. On that last part, it's got to be crazy. I'm certainly not going to comment on all the
Yeah,
investigation
I'm
stuff
not, yeah,
because
absolutely.
I'm taking it all with a grain. Like
Yeah,
it's either true or it's not. I don't, as far as unless a court makes a decision, I
yeah,
take everything as it could or couldn't. I'm not gonna give
yeah,
a verdict. But if
absolutely.
I mean, I've already said if it's true, I think
Mm,
one way. If it's not true, okay.
yeah.
But either way, on that note, what has what has been your biggest challenge in making artwork?
Oh God, getting the content out on time. For me, it's always like, right, okay, Wyndham Wednesday, I ain't got nothing for it. I got no ideas whatsoever. And then I'll see a quote from Bray Wyatt on like maybe YouTube or something where he was talking about Triple H said in the interview, he's like, you've got to grab them by the throat and let them watch. And I'm like, that's such a fucking cool line. Okay, what would I do with that? Maybe a hand around Bray Wyatt's like throat and make him look like he's like getting strangled, but in the same sense, like the Fiend's hand is there and he's like not getting strangled, he's getting hurt and healed at the same time. And straight away it's like that really. And then I just go into a massive thing, and then before I know it, my kids are like, Dad, you're gonna cook us dinner? And then it's like, right, save that bit, come back to it after dinner, and yeah, a lot of other stuff. I've got a very understanding partner. She'll sit there and read her dark fantasy novels, and she'll get lost in all that. And I'll be doing my artwork. Generally, um, there has never been a woman in my life that has supported me so much that she does. She is absolutely amazing. And whenever I get the opportunity to make artwork for her, I always put it up. I did something not too long ago with me and her.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it's basically a picture of what it is. It was a picture of death holding a woman, and I was like, I can make that into me and my lady, and then turn it like a dark fantasy like cover. And then I found the song as well and stuff like that. So I'm very much a person. It's like the Royal Rumble theme song. I've already got. I heard it the other day, and it screamed Royal Rumble to me. The Royal Rumble song that they've used is dog shit. I will say one thing that was good about Vince McMahon that is not good about Triple H. The taste in music is shit. I don't like Travis Scott. I don't like him at all. I don't think he's marketable. I don't like him for the Raw song. I don't like the SmackDown song. I liked the metal stuff. I liked when Triple H was like Metallica and all that. I would love for them to be like Triple H to be like, right, we're changing it up, and hopefully he does. I mean, the thing is, for Raw to not have an opening entrance thing is so weird, and they don't even have one for SmackDown anymore. They don't have an entrance. I used to love them. I used to think they were so good when they showed all the superstars of the opening montage.
Agreed.
They don't have them anymore, and to me, that always sets up the show. So that's why I might start doing my poses a bit more, because I love the fact that when people see it, I like to think that they think, well, I'm so hyped up for that match now. I'm so hyped up for Logan Paul being on Raw because that post has really got me hyped up for it. And that's my aim with the NXT and the Raw and the SmackDown and all the pay-per-view ones. I think the individual ones are the ones that I just like, that person right now is shining. Like I did a Alexis King. Now, I think right now Alexis King is probably where Damian Priest was when he was in NXT. He's just waiting for that right match to be pushed over and then get that opportunity of actually being a pushed superstar. It's great that he's got the cup. I'd much rather see it be made into a title, but it is what it is. The Heritage title to me sounds better. Like their version of an Intercontinental title, but obviously they've got the North American title for that. But then, I love the fact that they've got that. It's like a completely different entity. And I love that fact of like when I do my artwork, it does hype people up for the show. Like I see other wrestlers repost it. Like all the time whenever Bronson Reed was not injured, he all the time. Karrion Kross repost my stuff all the time, and it gives me hope of like I will say, "Oh, are we going to see the Wyatts and the Final Testament tonight?" And he'll repost it, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, we're getting something." Because why else would he put it up? And then I saw that he liked the Lexus King poster, and I'm like, so he genuinely does check out my stuff. It's not just him, which was so awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think it's rewarding. I mean, I know I haven't had any traffic as far as the wrestlers that I know of, except for Kurt Angle liking the art I made of him and saying
that was
thank
fucking
you.
Awesome, by the way. That's so cool.
That was probably
loads of people that are like, Jeremy, it's Kurt fucking Angle. Like, guy's the man. The guy's the man. Like, you got Kurt Angle. I have never got Kurt Angle.
In that moment, it was one of those I can't believe it because I thought it was a fan account when the notification came up. I think I was working
Yes.
on artwork, and then all of a sudden it came up. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I checked it. My jaw dropped, and I texted to one buddy. He texted to several other people, and then all of a sudden 10 people were like, holy crap, Kurt Angle liked your stuff. People were like, oh, he's going to repost it. I was like, no, that's not Kurt Angle. That's not Kurt Angle's style.
But what you don't know is does Kurt Angle not screen cap it and keep all of this stuff? You don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I
You
took
get
it
a
as
screen cap on Kurt Angle's phone. That's pretty awesome.
I took it as it doesn't matter if it only gets 2 likes or 1 like. The fact that the man who I made it for liked it is all I need. It doesn't matter how many people see that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So that was enough for me. And plus, one of my family members actually got to meet him once outside of wrestling, like on a coincidence. And she didn't even know, I think, that he was a wrestler. She was just talking to him about her business that she runs.
That's the worst, isn't it? When someone else meets your hero and they haven't got a fucking clue who it is. You're like, no, what? Yeah, just start talking about the shopping and what I'm doing on the weekend.
Well, hers was actually pretty crazy because I believe her company has to do with trying to help people against addiction.
Oh wow!
So I can't remember the full story. I'd have to speak to them about it again. But it was just a crazy coincidence because I sat there and I'm like, well, if you're trying to get somebody to be a spokesperson for it, if you're trying to talk to them, that's one of the best people, I think, to be an advocate for that. Like, it's just crazy how that was the conversation she had with him, and then boom, I was like, well, I mean, that's a topic to talk to him about.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And then I think it clicked afterwards that he was a pro wrestler, and then I was basically like, yeah, no, I feel like that was probably a good person to talk to about that.
Absolutely, 100%. Because he came out the other end.
Yeah, exactly. And is a better man for it. But
yes, absolutely.
So with that, on the whole challenges, we got past challenges of art. What has been your favorite moment while making artwork?
Okay, my favorite moment of making artwork was probably when it was the first ever Firefly Funhouse, and we didn't have any pictures of Bray Wyatt. Didn't have any new pictures, no renders, no nothing. And I took a screen cap on YouTube of him cutting the promo about when he says, all you have to do is let me in. And I've done half devil, half angel, thinking, oh, that'd be all right. If 4 people like it, then great. I got it out there. It's what I wanted. Bray Wyatt liked the post. He was the first ever person.
Wow.
And to me, I screen capped it, and I'm like, that was amazing. That for me was the day where I was just like, okay, I can do this, because I was genuinely thinking about it wasn't getting any likes, it wasn't doing this, it wasn't doing anything, I wasn't doing anything great. And when Bray Wyatt liked my stuff, that's when I pretty much just delved into the dark side of it, of I can do creepy, I can do this. And Bray Wyatt liking my stuff was probably the turning point of me to do everything else that I'd done after that. Like all of the pay-per-view posts. I stepped my game up when I was like, someone like Bray Wyatt, who is literally on top of the world right now, he's just come back and he's just liked my artwork. And not only has he liked it, he's the very first person that's liked it. I was like, that's a sign right there. So I just, from there, really, I think that's probably my highlight. And after that was, of course, Karrion Kross following me. I still couldn't believe that to this day. Whenever we repost something.
I think it's awesome. And I think Shotzi, you said that Shotzi just now followed you?
Yeah, Shotzi as well. That was amazing. It's amazing when all I do is just put the poster up. They like it. And it's like Nikki Cross yesterday. I put up, not yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, hang on. Yesterday, no, it was Wednesday. Wednesday, I put the 2K one up. And I just sent I'm as you know, I'm a very impersonal person. When someone follows me, they always get a voice note, a personal voice note, and I record that there and then. It's not a recorded thing, so it does differ. Sometimes I say "stay awesome" or I do the mids, the awesome. It depends what kind of mood I'm in. but everyone gets a personal thing. And like yesterday, Nikki Cross was just like, "Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you very much for the post." And I just sent her back a thing. And Nikki Cross, I'm just like, I'm engaging with Nikki Cross. You know what I mean? It's like, hang on there, hang on. It's weird.
It's one of those. It's an interesting dynamic because I've always wanted to be part of the creative process behind the business. I've always wanted to. I mean, kind of the dream was to become a manager for somebody. I want to be the person that helps make the next person, and utilize my skills that I've helped for myself to help somebody else. Like the podcast, trying to elevate other people by giving them exposure to a different audience. But I think it's gratifying to get that nod of approval from those people. I'm very much under the mindset of don't get too caught up in it. Like it's a great moment and take it as that, but don't get caught up in it being like a fan, like getting caught up too much as a fan, being like, oh my gosh.
It is so hard.
It is so hard because it's like, oh, this is real.
I must have sent about 6 voice notes where I sounded like they were Backstreet Boys and I was just this little girl. I had to delete them. I'm like, that's Karrion Kross. Come off cooler than that. It's fucking stupid.
But I mean, on the flip side, it's one of those. Okay, I gotta stay cordial, because you gotta think they spend so many times meeting so many people that are like, oh, I'm a fan of this, I'm a fan of that. It gets to the point where I think to myself, yeah, they know that. But I think it's cool to just be personal with them and be like, hey, it's great to talk to you. I really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. And you show them that, hey, it affects you positively. You're appreciative. You're grateful. And just like, in my opinion, just, even though there's that, I say it now, but I was geeking when Kurt Angle liked my stuff. Yeah. But it's very much like, oh, if he texted me, it'd be like I need to think about something professional to say.
Yes.
I need to be professional and just be like, thank you. I greatly appreciate it, because I've got to stay humble.
Yes. So you've got that. I've got ADHD and autism, so straight away I go into meltdown panic mode, and then I'm like a fucking obsessive stalker. I remember when I met Fred Durst. Like, this is literally my music god. I love Fred Durst, and he's amazing, right? When I met him, I ain't even joking. These are my first words out of it. Oh my God, Fred, I love you. I stalk you so much. Oh. I couldn't take that back. I am standing right in front of the fucking man, and he's like, hey man, do you want to go get some? I'm like, I love you. I'm like, just pack it in. Just stop
it. Well, so obviously we've talked about your favorite moments. But do you, moving forward, I know that you've hit so many landmarks and you continue to rise currently at a rapid pace. Do you have any goals moving forward for yourself? It doesn't have to be statistical. It can be just mental goals. It can pertain to wrestling. But what kind of goals do you have for yourself going forward?
Okay, so for actual goals, like in my life, obviously, I'll focus on, like, do you mean like everything? Like, or just
I was pertaining it to the artwork and the wrestling, but if you want to take it elsewhere as well, that's up to you. But I was opening the door up to wrestling.
I mean, the wrestling thing, the artwork thing, I think I want to get to the point where I don't have to put any hashtags. I just literally put the artwork out there and everyone picks it up and just knows that, Glitch released a new artwork. And I want to do that because of the pure simple fact I want people to see my artwork more. But the biggest pain in the ass, which I'm sure you know, is the hashtags. You have to think of which thing to say all the time. And it's really frustrating because you put all the stuff in that you think is going to be interesting, and then Instagram just look at it and go, fuck you, you're going to get 4 people that like that. I don't give a fuck.
Well, the Jey Uso one, not to cut you off, my Jey Uso one, on that note, it maybe got 10 people to look at it.
See, our Jey Uso one's really good.
That's the crazy thing. I was sitting there thinking that's top 5 that I think I've ever made, and it got 10, 15 people to look at it total. But the John Cena one got almost 400.
Yeah, that's what I mean. See, it's the algorithm. It's so fucking shit. I'll be honest with you. It's so shit. It just is. It's like someone's got your fucking artwork in their hand, and they make the decision of what's good and what's not. And the thing is, and I know this through actually doing it. When I paid the money for the certified thing for a month, I was getting non-stop. I was getting like 1K, 2K. As soon as you take that money away from people that generally can't afford, I've got 2 kids, for fuck's sake. I mean, I don't know what the economy's like in America, but it's fucked here. Mm-hmm. Everything is so expensive. It's like, expensive. Sorry, how much is that for shopping? No, I said shopping, not a fucking mortgage. Well, it generally is like that. So I don't want to put a down payment on a villa. I just want to get some groceries and, some meat and chicken. I'm good. How much? That's a lot of money. I can't afford that. It's like I had a hole in my wall where my son likes to jump on the fucking sofa. They quoted me £90, and I'm like, I ain't got it, so not happening. Like, I'm not being horrible or nothing, but I can't pay it. I just can't. So it's like, I get why people put artwork up there, but sometimes I see people's artwork and I'm just like, that person artwork is only been picked up because CM Punk liked it. There's a guy called Abdul Malik, right? Now, Don't get me wrong, he is a good artist, but he's one of those people that thinks he's better than what he is. And I'm not disrespecting to him or anything, but the other day, he actually sent a message to Triple H on Twitter going, your people that make your posters are nowhere near as good. Look at my artwork. I'm like, first off, you ain't as good as them. Second off, don't go to Triple H and tell him that you're better, because all he's going to be like is, show me that you're better. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a case of what we don't play. I think some of my artwork is really good, right? But I'm not going to sit there and blow my own trumpet about it. It's not my job. It's not my job to go, that's really good. It's someone else's. And that was one of those people where I'm just like, he's in the position that he's in, and he's sort of like, I want better than this. And I think the best way I can put it is, Kevin Owens talked about having a match with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. And he didn't realise how important that match was. And after that, Chris Jericho left the company. And Kevin Owens said, it's one of his biggest regrets, because all he was concerned about was getting the title back. And that wasn't in his storyline. He was going to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. But in his storyline, he had a great match with Chris Jericho, but he's like, I didn't put anything into it. I didn't care about the match. And he was like, and it suffered. And Chris Jericho said that was one of the reasons he left for AEW, because there was people that genuinely didn't want to wrestle him anymore. But he went to AEW and he totally lit it up. I mean, he's still killing it now. He's Chris Jericho. But there's my tangent.
No, it's food for thought, is what it is. As I just get interrupted by the dog roaming in to say hi.
Right, yeah. What's the dog's name?
Her name is Bella.
Hey, Bella. Can't hear me, but should be ignored just because she's not human. Is what it is.
They've been able to hear her once or twice on the microphone over the years. She's very quiet sometimes.
She makes herself known, man.
Well, now she's just chilling right here. But I'll let her do her thing. Yeah, on that point, I think people there's an ego to it, but kind of that's what it was. The point I had to reply to that is, my mentality is that there will always be somebody better than you. I learned that very young. I was taught that when I played so many sports. I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was always under the impression someone is always better than you, and you need to be humble to admit that and recognize it, but also have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and think, but I can reach that.
Mm-hmm.
So and then it just comes down, how bad do you want it, and then put in the work for it. And that's kind of what this is, where it's like, okay, I need to keep pushing myself. The Jey Uso one, I'm thinking, all right, that's top 5. Dang, I'm probably not going to top that. Okay, well, how can I top myself? How can I keep reaching the next level with a different idea? And some of them are misses. Some of them I'm like, all right, it's whatever. Then there's those that are like, yes, yes, yes. And it's all about, and I'm always reminding myself, there's always somebody better. There's always somebody better. I look at all of your artwork and I'm like, I still have this monumental mountain to climb to even get to that point. I need to keep working on myself. I need to keep scratching and clawing. That's my mentality.
But I think that's good. I think that's good. I think The Rock said it best. He's like, in anything that you do, the day that you don't, you're not hungry, is the day you need to walk away from the plate. You need to go find something else, and that is so true. It's like anything I do, I have to want to do it. But when I get up and do my workouts at 5, I want to do it. I have to do it because I know the results and the thing. It's like the Royal Rumble thing. I started off saying to you, I think at the beginning of the week, I'm like, I'm just going to do the 2 people that I won the Royal Rumble. Then as I watched the show, I'm like, Seth deserves a poster. Sammy deserves a poster. Oh, Lesnar might come back. I'll do him a poster. Aleister Black, do him a poster. You know what I mean? Randy Orton might come back. It's the time. AJ Styles is rumoured to come back. Let's do a poster for him. And it snowballs. And I'm just like, with each poster, I'm like, this is getting better. And it's going to make someone go, I'm not really excited about the Royal Rumble because, I just know he's going to win. He's going to win. And then my poster up and I go, hang on, Brock Lesnar to come back. I'm ready for it now. AJ Styles might come back. Yeah, that's a good one. Goldberg might be there. Well, there's that thing with Gunther. Maybe something might happen, but Gunther's not going to be in the Rumble, so maybe not. I have been very much like that, and it's like CM Punk teased AJ coming back, and we all want AJ to come back. We do. She was amazing. Could you imagine her with, like, I don't know, Roxanne Perez or Bayley, like just Charlotte Flair? The list is endless of how many people she could get in that ring with. If she's still as good as what she was, no one can still lace her Chuck Taylors, then I'm all for it. I would love to see AJ Lee back in the business.
There is a lot of excitement behind this Rumble, and I'm looking forward to it. But I would say I got 3 more questions for you.
Go for it.
What's a piece of advice you would give to others, whether it's in the editing or in wrestling in general?
Again, I get quite a lot of my from John Cena and The Rock. I think they're very wise, and I think one of the greatest things I ever heard was treat someone the way that you would want to be treated. I think that's one of the best quotes because it speaks for anything. It's like, oh, that guy just spoke to me like shit. Yeah, but did you talk to him like shit? Well, I did. Yeah, well, maybe you should go and apologise, and maybe you might apologise too. But if you don't apologise, still be safe in the fact that you apologised. He's just the one that's got the problem. You walk away from that, and I learned that very late in life. I was a very confrontational person. I was more like cross between Randy Orton, bit of a no disrespect to Randy Orton. I love Randy Orton, but even he's admitted when he was on drugs and stuff and alcohol and everything, he was a bit of a prick. And then the other one is probably the intensity of Jon Moxley, not Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. So I had to tone that down very fucking quickly. And I think the big thing that just basically life, really, just life experiences and handling things different. But I would say probably the number one thing is, treat someone the way that you would want to be treated. Because if you treat them with respect and then they come back and be a prick to you, you're like, do you know what? Sounds like a you problem, fuck you. It's you. You're the prick. I don't have to be a prick because you're being one.
That's fair. I think that's a good piece of advice. And then the second to last question. Who is, and you already heard this, who's your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right. Now, any wrestler, any fan, or anyone that gets asked this question, the comment section blows up, right? So, genuinely,
I haven't had one yet.
It's fucking going to happen because it's a Mount Rushmore thing. And if someone sees this and they don't agree with it, they're going to be like, why didn't you put him on? They've just got to have their say, especially if it's a part of the wrestling community. It don't fucking matter. Someone's going to have a field day if they see the things about Chris Benoit and Vincent McMahon. They'll be like, he's disgusting. He's a parent himself. Like, generally, it's going to be an interesting one. Right. Okay. Well, Shawn Michaels has definitely got to be on there.
HBK. Alrighty.
The Mount Rushmore's how many people?
Four. It's
Okay. Can we not chip away the
What do you
cake,
mean? Are you upset?
Fucking hell, right, Marshall. Okay.
Mount
Shawn
Rushmore.
Michaels just because.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore is 4. It's got Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Roosevelt.
Okay. My.
Either way, you said HBK.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels is definitely one of them. I think Undertaker's got to be on there.
Undertaker. Okay.
Absolute two legends. Fucking hell, this is hard. Okay. Now I love Bray Wyatt, and I do, but I'm thinking for longevity of like who brought the most to the business and changed it. Bray Wyatt was one of those people, but he didn't stick. He hasn't, he didn't stick around. So, I can't put him on there just because of longevity. So I'd say Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Steve Austin, and The Rock. They're my Mount Rushmore.
That's a good list. It's a good list.
It's not bad, but there are loads of straight away.
So I had somebody list Jeff Hardy on their Mount Rushmore. It's
wow.
I know.
Okay.
We've had some. I need to do a poll. I think somebody else listed Razor Ramon.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I need to make a list of everyone's total combined votes just to see who's the majority. But I'm kind of waiting till the 10th episode to then do the total.
There he is again, Stat Matt. There he is.
So then get a sample size, if I can use my word.
Jesus Christ.
So then, that's a good Mount Rushmore. I like it. But as my final question, and this is what I ask everybody, where can everyone find you? Where can they all go to find you on social media?
Literally, Glitch Artworkz or Artwork by Glitch. I can't even remember what it is. Is it Glitch Artworkz or Glitch Artworkz or Artwork by Glitch? I can't even remember. I changed my name so fucking many times. It's ridiculous.
I have it as Glitch Artworkz with a Z at the end.
Yes, that's what it is. And it's Glitch Artworkz with a Z on Instagram. That is literally it.
On that note, I want to thank you, Glitch, for appearing on this show. It has meant a lot to me. I think this might become the longest podcast episode I've had so far, running at 1:47 right now. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time. It's a privilege to meet you, to talk to you more about wrestling.
Anytime. It's been absolutely an absolute pleasure, and I don't mind being part of the next 10 episodes. Go up to 10. I don't mind at all. We can just shoot the shit and just talk about what's going on with the wrestling. I don't mind doing this every week. I have genuinely, really thoroughly enjoyed this, and thank you very much for asking me to be a part of it.
You're welcome, and I will do my best to give you a heads up on when it's getting uploaded. And for everyone else, that's where you can find him. Go ahead and give him your support, especially his artwork. He does a fantastic job. I'll promote it. I'll let everyone know. But thank you again for coming in and taking the time to do this. With that, ladies and gentlemen, my outro. I want to thank you all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Of course, if you choose, feel free to tune into the other episodes of the DDT Podcast. If you haven't already, feel free to explore the wide cast of personas and people that have been a part of wrestling or have been influenced by wrestling in one form or another and have taken root in various medias revolving around it. Give them your support as well if you choose to. With that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on the DDT Podcast. And most importantly, suit up, Mad Army.